What does it take to plan a mass event during a pandemic?
It's the largest sporting event since COVID-19.
On the Red Dot gets behind some of Singapore's biggest events to find out.
600 artists, curators, presenters racing against time.
The risks are that a show can be cancelled.
In this episode,
the Singapore Airshow is one of the largest aerospace and defence exhibition in Asia. There were a lot of uncertainties for the airshow.
The most challenging part is all the safe management measures.
A lot of things to be done. Worry is always at the back of mind.
These are the days leading up to the Singapore Airshow.
It's now 7 a.m. and we are at West Coast Pier. We'll be going to Pulau Sudong where the RSF does its aerial display training. In Pulau Sudong, the pilots can fly low and do a realistic training session. And we can practice our commentary to sync with the aerial display.
Red Hawk 1 and 2 inbound.
We have put in so much of hours coordinating the aerial maneuvers with our ground commentary.
Here's the craft, the Red Hawks from the RSF's 120 Squadron, opening the show with a cross dagger.
I'm very excited for Singapore Airshow 2022.
Okay guys, this is our first set planning for the static display. Now, I need to move around certain aircraft. Ray, can you move the RQ further up? I'm in charge of all aeroplane operations for the airshow itself, being for static display and also for the flying display. Put all the smaller aircrafts up there. The flying display consists of aircrafts coming in to fly in aerobatic formation. Static display means exhibitors bring their aircrafts into a display area for visitors to view the aircraft. Since young, I always liked anything that relates to aviation and plane. I was in the Air Force for 34 years. I joined the Airshow in 2009. We are 2 months away from the Airshow, so tentatively, we have about 37 aeroplanes for the static display, correct? The exhibitors really want to come after COVID hit. Everybody wants to get the aviation industry going.
I'm in the operations team. My core duties includes the liaising between the exhibitors and contractors to facilitate their moving in and the entire construction of the airshow. So this is actually the Changi Exhibition site. This is the SATA area where the static aircraft display is. Here is where the chalets are, essentially the hospitality suites for all the exhibitors. And then we have here the plaza area for people to view the flying display. Right now we're doing the build-up for the exhibition hall. This is the exhibition hall. What you see is actually still bare, but these two areas will roughly hold close to 200 exhibitors. The corner is the Boeing.
Yeah, Boeing is that two big islands at the corner. I've been working with the Singapore Airshow project for the last 15 years. My main role is driving companies to come and participate and exhibit at the show.
Okay, so far looking good. Do you see any delays or any issues?
A few that has not confirmed their contractors yet.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
One, two, three.
The Singapore Airshow is one of the largest aerospace and defence exhibition in Asia and one of the most important in the global calendar. The Airshow itself has everything. We have conference, we have exhibition with thousands of participants from all the world. It is also a very, very big networking opportunity.
The last 2 years was very bad for in the aviation industry because nobody's flying.
Around the world, a lot of shows got cancelled, a lot of shows got postponed, and plans changed. There were a lot of uncertainties for the Singapore Airshow 2022.
We were confirmed a couple of months before. In September, that is when we had the go-ahead that Airshow is happening.
We were very happy, finally, we have the kind of confirmation. Of course, there's also that, oh dear, there's a lot of work to do. Essentially, we were compressing about 9 months of preparation work down to about less than 3 months.
So how is it going?
I went to the hall and have a look at the construction. So looking quite good. Exhibitors raise concerns, will people actually come to the airshow? Our assurance to our exhibitors now is that in terms of applying for VTLs, we will give priority to your guests and your customers.
Morning, Teo York.
Hi, morning.
Any updates?
Actually, we have completed most of the steel structures.
Okay. The most challenging part for the operations team is we have to keep the working crew small to about 5 packs per group, not to intermingle, stagger their lunch hours. But because of the shorter lead time that we have to the show, everything is just jam-packed. There has been delay in terms of shipments because of the lack of ports. So we have to find ways around how we can still hit the timeline.
A successful 2022 Airshow will show the world how Singapore wants to kick off the MICE industry to show that they are back in business. But of course, as you get closer to the event, things happen last minute.
More Asian countries are moving to shut out the new COVID-19 Omicron variant. From Japan to Malaysia, governments are imposing travel restrictions. Singapore is freezing the sale of all new tickets for vaccinated travel-lane flights and buses as cases of the highly infectious Omicron variant surges across the world.
When the government announced there is a halt to the VTL travels until 20th of January, the initial reaction was, of course, panic, shock, and we worked around the clock engaging the exhibitors, be it US or Europe, and allaying the fears. A lot of our customers are not from English-speaking countries. So for them to try to understand some of the information from MOH website, ICA websites are a bit of a daunting task.
The operation team is surviving on probably 2-3 hours of sleep just to get everything in place. Feeling exhausted, but excited as well because we have all worked so hard. Today, the rest of the exhibitors are moving in. In the hall, you will see a lot of trucks moving around, unloading their equipment and actually seeing the stands built from ground zero all the way up.
The biggest challenge that we have is last-minute confirmation. For the Malaysian pavilion, we received a request, I think 5 days before the Chinese New Year. We are trying to facilitate their request, even though it's a last-minute.
Having a sure number of contractors coming in all at the same time is a concern. We have created more stations in order to facilitate the flow, as well as to engage the safe distance ambassadors to actually ensure that all the exhibitors and contractors adhere to the SMM measures that we have on site.
We will end up with close to some 600 participating companies. It's less than the last show, which is close to 1,000. But the big companies are all still around.
I'm Major Matthew Fu, call sign Rabies. I'm the F-16 team lead for the aerial display. So right now we are actually carrying out our training. And for this year's Singapore Airshow 2022, the RSAF will be putting up one F-16C Fighting Falcon and a pair of AH-64 Apaches.
At the apex, 6 seconds, expect to drop the collective and we will bow down in unison and dive back towards the show center. I am flying the AH-64 Delta, which is a multi-role attack helicopter. Aerial display is inherently challenging. We go through a very rigorous training program. The team have put in a lot of effort into it.
As the Red Hawks re-enter show center, they will pull up into a steep climb and then tipping over in unison into a negative ski dive, presenting the Twin Peaks.
A good commentator is someone who's flexible and able to adapt to the aerial display around him.
Do keep an eye out for that picture-perfect moment, especially when those flares light up the sky.
Not everything goes according to plan all the time, so the commentator must be able to react and do commentary accordingly.
Unfortunately, we were unable to get any public days during this Singapore Airshow 2022.
Personally, I am disappointed because my two young boys will not be able to catch me in action live.
Traditionally, we always let the public enjoy the flying display to see aircraft perform in aerobatic formation. So it's always been one of the major highlights in any air show. For 2022, we are encountering the COVID restrictions. There's no public days. So maybe the interest for the public is not there, but the trade visitors will still be very interested to watch the flying display. For the static display, this is our layout. The RSAF corral will be over at this side. My team is walking around the SADA area to check the ground and to plot the ground, basically based on what we have planned out. We have about 20-odd aircrafts coming in, both military and commercial. About a 40% reduction from the last airshow. The A350 is always the last one because it's the biggest aircraft. Because once it comes in, it blocks everybody. The consideration for parking the aeroplanes in the static display area is primarily to make sure that they have enough separation among each other and also the movement in and out.
So I need you guys to check their PET status, vaccination status, to ensure they do their safe entry. Clear?
Yes.
Today is the first day where the exhibitors inspect their stand as well as check out their exhibits. We are expecting a little bit more people than the last couple of days. So we have a stricter SMM in place. The level of tiredness has gone up by probably 10-folds, but it's really the last step to the show.
We are at the stage where we're all running on adrenaline. Exhibitors are all confirmed. 1 or 2 dropouts over the last 2 weeks, but not significant. Most of the big exhibits are already in, and thankfully there wasn't any issue. So this is the Malaysia Pavilion.
Yeah, though they came in a bit later, but key structure is already up.
The last country pavilion that confirmed was the Malaysia Pavilion, so we are very happy to welcome them aboard. The next couple of days, hoping the exhibitors all will arrive safely into Singapore, get their test passed, and none get sent into quarantine, so that they can all come to the air show. And then, of course, the next thing we look forward to is the arrival of the aircraft.
Okay, right now we are about to close the road. So the aircrafts that will be coming in for the static display area, they'll be landing at Changi International Airport and they will be shut down. It's about a 2-kilometer tour across Aviation Park Road. In order for them to come in, we have to bring down the lamppost. And then the bridge railings, because the wingtip of an aircraft can hit the railings. On a weekday, towing has to be done in the night, around 11 onwards up to the next morning 4 a.m. because the roads are only available around that time for us to close and to tow the aeroplanes in. So that is why it's a massive work. a lot of things that to be done. So that kind of anxiety and worry is always at the back of my mind. We are now preparing for the towing of aircraft. We have already closed the Aviation Park Road for the aircrafts to come into static display area. And close to 40 people are involved to ensure that the towing is done safely and that it can be completed in time.
After we arrive at CEC, we will also need to coordinate the arrangement of the aircraft to ensure that they fit within the allocated space and have sufficient distance between each aircraft.
The last bunch of aircrafts that will come in will be the wide-body aircrafts. The hours are long, but when everything comes into place, you always feel satisfied.
Okay, so remember get umbrella to close the umbrellas. End of the day, in case it flies off,
understand.
the rubbish needs to be cleared. Remember to tell Eve. We are doing our last walk around at the chalet area to ensure that all the area has been cleared and cleaned to be ready to welcome the guests. Can't wait for the show to start. The hope I have for the first day of show is that we do not have a choke at the registration gateway because of the stringent SMM measures, that all the attendees are forgiving enough and cooperative enough to understand that we have to do this for the safety of everyone. But unfortunately, a few days ago, we received the news that Danny tested positive for COVID.
Hey, hi Danny.
Hi, Liang.
Hey, how are you?
Today I'm feeling much better, much better. I think after 2 days of rest now.
You're doing your daily test, right?
Yes. So unfortunately still positive.
When I heard that Danny tested positive, of course I was shaken. What is going to happen to the show? What kind of planning we need to redo? Still positive. Today is what, day 3, right?
Yeah, just got a bit of a runny nose and then a bit of tiredness.
Okay.
Generally it's okay.
It meant that all of us have to step in for Danny's role, bringing in the exhibitors and the overall execution of the show. And we'll make sure the show goes on. Most of the exhibitors that we are tracking, they are already in. A lot of them already dropped by, wanting to say hi to you as well, but we told them, you are down with COVID. Hopefully you can still make it like the last day.
I have mixed feelings about today. It's a mixture of stress and relief that we managed to pull everything into place just in time.
Yeah, all coming early, so that's why we're all standing by here. Right now, we're all waiting for the VIPs' arrivals. Once they arrive, we will have the ribbon cutting ceremony to start the exhibition. Morning, Minister. We're prepared for a long time for this event. Definitely very excited about it.
We're starting the ceremony soon.
A big round of applause, please, everybody.
It definitely felt really surreal. It's finally happening. Hi, Minister.
Hi.
Hi, your first stop will be at ST. We're bringing all the VVIPs to meet up with the different exhibitors, so that really feels good.
I can feel the buzz and the vibrancy all around the exhibition hall. And I think this event, even in the midst of pandemic, is really a testament of that confidence in Singapore's ability to host a high-quality MICE event safely. It's a very significant move in our reopening and hosting larger events from 2022 onwards.
We are about to start the brief to all the flying display pilots. The briefing touches on the air traffic procedures, the contingencies and the schedule that the pilots must keep to.
Just bear in mind, the time is going to be very tight. And whenever instruction from air traffic is cleared for you to take off as soon as possible.
It's very important that the performers keep to the timings that is allocated to them, because between each performer there is only a gap. It's about a minute. So if we exceed the time limit and the next performer comes, there can be a mid-air collision.
Let's go and have a good show.
We are now up in the observation tower. It has a very good view of the flying display area, and everyone is on their toes, making sure the airspace is clear for the aircrafts to perform in front of the exhibition centre.
Singapore Tower, sir?
Copy 1232. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Singapore Airshow 2022. The Republic of Singapore Air Force has stood up a team of two AH-64D Apache attack helicopters to kickstart the show.
Because there is no public day, the live stream offers those who are not able to attend the show to enjoy it at their home.
Followed by a single F-16C Fighting Falcon for today's aerial demonstrations.
At the end of the flying display, I'm very satisfied that the show went on as according to the plan and there were no incidents.
To meet a lot of our exhibitor friends who we have not really physically met for 2 years, and they are all finally here in Singapore. That to me is already a huge success itself.
Overall, it's a sense of accomplishment after months of hard work. That is the kind of satisfaction that you don't get at other shows.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us in the Singapore Airshow 2022.
Finally, when I tested negative, I rushed back to the event. It feels good and was very happy to see all of them here at the show.